The other day I locked myself out of my apartment. I was on the way who knows where, with a bag on my shoulder, a book under my arm, my phone in one hand, and a damn coconut LaCroix in the other hand. Getting locked out of my apartment was probably karma for drinking a coconut-flavored sparkling water in earnest, but that's besides the point. I get to the door and I do a mental inventory of everything. And I do this every time before I leave my apartment. I stand at the doorknob like a statue and just leave it cracked. I look schizophrenic. Standing outside my apartment, did I get everything? My chapstick? My backup chapstick? A drink? My phone? My keys? I was like, well, hell, I'm holding 4 things. I damn hope that I have enough things. And so I pulled the door closed. And immediately, of course, I was like, oh, my keys. No big deal, my keys. I look around. It's raining. It's cold. It's muddy. I think to myself, that's unfortunate. And I open my book, sit on my stairs, and start reading. And then I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You don't have a backup key. Nobody's coming to rescue you. What are you doing? And so I call up my landlord. I say, beep, boop, 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 boop. Hi. Yes, this is Josh. I locked myself out of my apartment. Except no one's on the line because he didn't pick up the phone call. And so I go back to reading. I read another page of the book, and then I set it down, and I say to myself, Josh, what are you doing? So I put the book down and start looking at my apartment windows. Check the first 2. They're not. They are not unlocked. They're locked. Check the next one. Also locked. And then I remember that there is a window in my place that does not have a lock on it, which I probably should not be sharing on the internet. Please don't stalk me. Please don't rape me. Please don't kill me. Scratch the last one. But the issue is that that window is on the 2nd story. So I get a ladder, prop it up, climb up in the rain, afraid to slip off of this mud-caked ladder, and I get up to the window, and I can't pry it open with my nails. Go back down the ladder, get a stick, shove it under the window, stick breaks. But it's wedged a little bit. Go back down, go back up, get another stick, wedge it again, and then I leave the stick there, and with my nail-bitten fingernails, I have no nails. There's nothing to... At this point, it's wedged a little bit, and I up the window, and it goes. But remember, it's raining, so my shoes are very muddy. The window opens onto my desk. There are like books and papers all over my desk, and I'm like, I really don't want to trample this place with mud. I leave the books on the desk, and I start crawling in the window. But normally you would to get in a window, you would do put in a leg, swivel a bit. But I was like, I can't get mud on stuff, and I don't know how to take my shoes off without standing on the muddy ladder and getting my socks dirtied up. So I started crawling through the window on all 4s, and the window would not open wide enough to let my back in. I was on all 4s, stuck with my ass out the window, praying that my neighbors were not sitting in their apartment giggling and taking pictures of me. I remain on all 4s for at least a couple of minutes. The only thing sticking out of the window, my feet and ass. Take my shoes off, drop them, and then shimmy myself in, cramping. I don't know what part of my body, but I make it in. I get my keys, and I think to myself, it's not God who's doing the door closing, it's you. It's you, Charles. And to get what you want in life, you have to be on all 4s, ass out of a 2-story window on a rainy day. And I was, and I will be, and I'm going to be. And that's why we're here today, because I had a bad reading year. I had a bad reading year. It's the truth. Not something I'm proud of, but it's something I do have control over. This year, the TLDR, as they say, of I had a bad reading year is that I had a bad reading year. Because I read a lot of books for videos. Books that I went in anticipating that I would not enjoy. And I didn't enjoy the books. Since starting a channel talking about books, I've had a lot of trouble reconciling reading as a habit and as a means to producing content. I still struggle with it. I don't know where that leads me, but in 2023, it left me with a bad reading year, picking up books I didn't like and didn't end up enjoying, and also not spending the time or care that I usually give books, and that upset me, and it was really frustrating. That's not to say I didn't read a lot of good books in 2023. I read a couple good ones. I've been milking the end of year content, so if you want to know what the good books are, there's plenty of available media to tell you. But I don't talk about it, the struggle with content and stuff, because I really just don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, what to do with it. I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I just thought I'd share that as an explanation to let you know that the title of this video, I had a bad reading year. It's not clickbait. I really did not. I struggled a lot throughout and read a lot of books that I didn't want to. But more importantly, I don't mind reading a bad book or one that I'm unsure of. It's more that there were a lot of books I wanted to read but put on the back burner because I was reading for silly little videos. This video is not like the dirty confessional you've been waiting for. It's a tag. Do you know what a tag is? I don't know what's popular on YouTube. Believe it or not, I was not a YouTube baby. I didn't grow up on YouTube. I've never really watched a lot of YouTube, so I don't know what the norm is. A tag is a set of questions, and then you answer the questions. And I made this tag, no big deal. In a previous video, I was like, I had a bad reading year. And I was like, if you guys want reflection on it, ask me some questions. And I didn't plan on making this video until people asked really thoughtful questions. And I was like, that would be so rude to have tricked these people into brainstorming these good questions and then not make the video. So here I am. I compiled a list of, it's an obscene amount of questions, as most of my videos are long. I can't help it, baby. I cannot help it. I'm not on TikTok for a reason. But the how many questions are there? My fingers are frozen, so I'm having trouble operating the mouse of my laptop. But wrong document. There are 25 questions. I tried for 5 minutes to reorganize the questions, make it flow nice, and then I was like, you know what? What can you do? And I stopped. And I just left the questions as is. Half of them-ish are from comments people left, and the other half are ones that I was like, oh, these are questions that I would like to know about someone's reading habits, and it would be fun to reflect on. So this book is half reflection, not book. This video is half mostly reflecting on the year, and then there are 2 questions that are New Year. I don't know what the name of this tag is. If you create content on YouTube and want to do this tag, go for it. Go for it. I'd be flattered. I don't have a name. The name that I came up with was the New Year, New Me book tag. Don't know. But it's just answering questions. TLDR, just answering some questions about my reading year. You guys submitted, like I said, some great questions. Some of the top contenders that ultimately didn't make the cut due to budget restrictions are as follows. What happened to your hair? Guys, please, does he have an IG? Do you work out your lower arms? Has anybody told you how beautiful you are? Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. My mother actually used to, and one day I told her, Mother, please don't do that, that's Oedipal. Another of my favorite questions asked for my age, height, social security, where I live, who I live with, car model year and mileage, and what my favorite slur was. And while those are very good questions, unfortunately, they didn't make the cut. Question 1, how many books did you read? In a video I claimed 49.5. I would say around 50. I realized I didn't even talk about all the books I read. One of them was Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which I didn't read all of, but I didn't really love. I thought I would like it a bit more. Didn't love it. But, answer, I don't know. About 50. Didn't finish all of those 50. I also read portions of books that I didn't include in the count. I don't count how many books I read a year. I only counted it for the video title. As clickbait. Question 2. Do you want to read more or less next year? Right now I'm feeling like more. I just feel the drive to pick up more books. I really want to get through my physical TBR, so I'm going to say more. But I wouldn't mind reading fewer books that I've wanted to read for years. 3. What genre did you read the most of? I don't really know what literary fiction is. It's like a non-category-ish, because you can have like thriller or literary fiction or whatever, but I think literary fiction, like some classics, some Pulitzer Prize, a lot of fiction. 4. Did you discover a new genre or type of book this year? Yes, maybe. Fantasy. I read Jade City by Fonda Lee at the end of the year, like very, very end, and I really, really enjoyed it. 5. What's the shortest book I read? Probably Memories of My Melancholy Whores by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Longest book you read? Anna Karenina, definitely. Hottest book cover you read? Hottest book cover of the year? Probably Madame Bovary. I don't have I'll insert a picture. I don't have the book with me right now. Did you reread any books? Question 8. No. I am a proponent of rereading books, but I think I'm saving the phase for once I've read all of the books that I own or know of and really want to, and then after that I'll get to a point where I'm just rereading the books that I really enjoyed. So no, but I support the cause. Question 9. What book surprised you the most this year? Probably Memories of My Melancholy Whores. Again. Only because I'd read 100 Years of Solitude and really didn't like it, and then picked up that book for a video and really enjoyed it. Was very pleasantly surprised. Biggest letdown? Definitely I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Makkai. It was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I can't keep talking about it. I cannot keep talking about it. Also, Wuthering Heights though, because I've been looking forward to it for years and I was like, oh, this is it? This is it? Video coming soon if I get my act together. Question 11. What is the weirdest book you've read this year? I'm gonna say Death in Her Hands by Otessa Moshfegh. It's not like very out there, but it is odd. I had a fairly tame reading year. I didn't read anything super odd. I don't know, like I'll raise you one. What's the weirdest book you've read, you freak? Question 12. What was a book this year that was the definition of all vibes, no plot? Rules of Attraction. Definitely Rules of Attraction. And it was great. Absolutely no, all vibes, no plot. People just fucking and doing drugs. Great book. 13. Did you cry at any of the books you read? If yes, which ones? I teared up at the end of I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. Didn't cry, but I was like, damn. Damn. Life really is like that. I probably teared up at some point in Anna Karenina, I think. Maybe near the end. Like, one of the characters has a spiral, and there's like a pages long, maybe like a chapter long internal monologue. And it's really sad. Like about someone who's like so alone and like driven to... Read it, bitch. Question 14. Did you read everything you wanted to read this year? No. One example is Crime and Punishment. I've been meaning to read Crime and Punishment for years. I tried years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, I just read 50 pages, never picked it up again. And then this year, I picked up a different translation last year, 2023. And I read 50 pages of it, and I was really enjoying it, but I just wasn't in a reading mood. I kind of dip in and out of reading moods. Like, occasionally I'll read a lot, and then sometimes a week or two will pass where I won't pick up a book because I don't feel like it. And I was in one of those moods where I was like, I don't wanna. With books that I heavily anticipate, I'm wary of picking up. I want to be in the right mood for them. I want to give them the opportunity to be as banging as they are. Question 15. Did you have any book-induced life revelations this year? No. I would say no. Not anything more significant than kind of molding ideas I've had before. It was kind of a 16. Hot topic. Did you buy or read more books this year? Definitely bought more. Definitely bought more. Definitely bought more. Definitely bought more. 17. Who was your favorite author of the year? Bret Easton Ellis, or Tolstoy. I feel like I can say Tolstoy after only reading one book of his this year because Anna Karenina is like, it's a deal. You get a lot in one. 18. Did you read any translated fiction? How many different languages? Yes. Top of my head, I'd probably say 5. We can try and name some. Russian, Anna Karenina. I think Memories of My Melancholy Horrors was translated, pretty sure, from Spanish. 2. Out by Natsuo Kirino was Japanese. Nana, Emile Zola, French. Elena Ferrante, Italian. Yeah, I don't know. Probably about 5. 19. What was your dominant method of book consumption this year? Print, audio, ebook. Print. Oh, I also read like half of Villette by... I always butcher them. Charlotte Bronte? Yeah, that sounds right. On ebook. Well, irrelevant. I did like a few audiobooks and then like one ebook, but mostly print. Question 20. Where did you get the books you read this year? E.g. bookstore, used, Amazon, library. I got most of them probably equal parts used and Amazon, with like a sprinkling of Barnes & Noble, but mostly used or like from a thrift store or used online. And then near the tail end I got a few from the library. 21. Where do you plan on getting your books in the new year? My shelf. I need to get through my TBR. Or the library. Question 25, skipping to the end, is any bookish New Year's resolutions? I'm not skipping the questions in between, but it's kind of the same thing. I'm trying not to buy books this year. We'll see how that goes. I'm not feeling too strongly any type of way, but I would prefer to work my way through the books that I own because they're books I want to read and ones that I'll never get to if I keep buying books at the rate that I do. So I'm trying not to buy books. I don't really care if I break that resolution, but that's where I am right now. 22. If you could pick one book to blow up on the internet, what would it be? It's hard for me to gauge which books are popular when I've been exposed to them for so long and think so highly of them. So I'm trying to think of the one that's the least popular. But assuming all of equal not popularity, I would say, I don't know. I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith is already fairly popular, so but I don't know about how much in modern audiences. But I'll say Out by Natsuo Kirino, a great, well-written thriller, very thoughtful, a meditation on being alone, being your own person, ultimately. And I thought it was really great. And also really entertaining. Out. 23. Which unread book have you owned the longest? I put this question in because I was like, wouldn't it be fun to see which book, is the longest? That are you like getting to the books you own? The answer is probably a book I got in high school. I don't know how prevalent a thing book awards are, but my school gave me one, and I read some of it, never finished it. It's called Defying the Nazis, The Sharps War. Maybe I'll read it this year, who's to say? Question 24, and the last one, because we did the last one, which was bookish New Year's resolutions, don't buy books. Question 24, what is one reading habit you want to leave behind in the new year? I have 2. Reading books in a day, I don't want to do anymore. I don't want to do because it's easier to remember them long term when you break it up into chunks. So like read a few, even if it's only 2 books, like just divide it into chunks. Like even if I wanted to read 3 books in a week, it shouldn't be back to back. It should be like a third, 2/3, 2/3, 2/3. I engage in a more meaningful and memorable way with books when I space them out over a period of time. So that's the first one. The second one is reading books that I won't like, that I think I won't like. I only want to pick up books with the idea that there's a good chance that I'll like them. Caveat, I'm just now realizing, are books that have been on my TBR for a really long time, and I want to get them off and see what the hype is about. But like reading books I think I won't like is like a random book more than anything. If it's a book I own, then kind of like doesn't count in a way, because you bought it. So buck up and read it. That's all. My landlord eventually did call me back and I was like, it's okay, no big deal. And he was like, what happened? And I said, you don't worry about it. Don't you worry about it. I said, I'll see you sometime soon, and baby, the same goes for you.